Are you sure?
I am.
Eventually. At some point.
Ugly Friends 2.
All right, what is going on, John?
How do?
Yeah, I was like, which John? We got
Oh yeah, Sergeant Sleaze is also John. Thank you for joining us tonight. I just kind of want to introduce ourselves a little bit to you because you probably never heard of us. I am Randy, and I am in Oklahoma City.
I'm Ashton, and I'm out here in Piedmont, Oklahoma.
And I am also John, and I'm in Topeka, Kansas.
That's awesome, man. I've driven through Kansas, but otherwise, you guys are part of the country I've never really visited. So that's awesome. I'm glad to meet you guys.
You're not missing much.
Well, the driving through part, but the meeting us part, you're missing a lot.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, yeah, awesome. So Judicator, that's who we've got on tonight. As you can see, scrolling down on the bottom, please check them out. They've got some exciting news coming out March 28th. What's happening, John?
Well, we've got our 7th full-length album coming out called Concord, and it is a sort of survey of the American West, the Wild West, and we're super excited about it.
I definitely like the sneak peek. Yeah. You've got a video out already that is Concord, and I've been rocking that, and it looked like so much fun. You guys look like you had a blast doing that shit, man. I was like, these guys know how to have fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of touching on something, which is this album production process was just nice. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, case in point with the music videos, with the Concord music video that you saw, it was work. But when we did the group singing part, that was just a hoot. That was so much fun.
That looked so funny.
And when we went to the outdoor location, which is the nighttime location you saw, it was so cold. It was deadly cold, but it was still just surreal because everybody had such a good attitude. It was a labor of love.
That's
Love
awesome.
it. Love it.
Except for the cold.
So you've got 7 albums. Is that going to count your next one or what you've done already?
Yeah, so Concord will be our 7th. We've been at this for over 10 years now, which is wild to think about.
Wow.
It really is. I want to I want to jump in there because I already know that you've changed some members through your years, and you had a female that was vocalist with you.
Yeah, the female vocalist Nikki Rowe of Rebels, Ghost, and Aeon Enthroned.
Right on.
Yeah.
Is everything prior, like before? I can't remember her name, but you had another female that you started the band with, like back in 2011 when you guys got going.
Yeah.
How did things go after the transition, and where you guys are now?
Well, so Alicia Cordisco and I started the band back in 2012 after meeting at a Blind Guardian concert in Tempe, Arizona. So it's kind of serendipitous that we ended up working with Hansi on a number of occasions. Even up until last year, we just opened for them in their Salt Lake City show with their tour. But to get to the question, she left the band in 2020, and she was the principal songwriter for the band. So we, out of necessity, needed to sort of decide whether we were going to like totally reinvent ourselves or whether we were going to try to continue on in the same musical style that Alicia had laid before, because I always handled the vocals and the lyrics. She handled all of the songwriting. Ultimately, we decided to really just shamelessly pursue what we wanted to pursue, the remaining members. And that was decided because we figured if we were going to try to ape her style or like copy it, it might come off as try hard or inauthentic. So a really hard left turn with our last album, which was the album that came out after she left, The Majesty of Decay. That's a very progressive, avant-garde power metal kind of album. And to our surprise, it was met with, it's probably our most critically acclaimed album to date. So sometimes you risk it and you actually do get the biscuit. I was really happy with how all it turned out.
From what I listened to a bunch of stuff today, I was jumping back and forth, and I love it. I love the sound. I love the tones that you have going on. It's awesome. It's almost just symphony stuff coming out of your mouth, and it's just amazing to me. I didn't have a question to that. I was like me, just kind of pump you up just for a second.
Yeah.
Because I lost my train of thought in the middle of my pump move. But
Sounds about right.
it happens to me a lot. It's okay.
Yeah, so my vocal approach with recording is definitely pretty layered, like what you would find on a Blind Guardian album or a Queen album. I wear those influences on my sleeves. But otherwise, you mentioned like a symphony kind of sound. We've been working with Francisco Javier Perez on as orchestral and symphonic arrangements and stuff for a while now, and we finally made him a member of the band. But yeah, he brings a lot to the table to provide those kinds of sounds.
Awesome. Do you when you're writing, how does that happen now? Is there a special recipe that you use? First you lay down the drums, and then you bring this in, and then the vocalist comes in and just hums melodies, with no words. What does the process look like when you guys are writing?
For me, I would say, because I wrote all of the music and lyrics for last album, which was crazy. For this album, it's different, but I'll say for me personally, it always starts with a nugget of an idea, whether it's a melody or a rhythm that comes into my head. I think it's important to get yourself into a creative headspace, and that can take some patience and determination. But yeah, I will take a melody or an idea, and I'll put that into Guitar Pro and sort of flesh out the idea, bring it to the band. We flesh it out even more. For example, there's a song on the new album called Sawtooth, which is inspired by the Sawtooth Mountains, which I love. And I was doing some manual labor for my dad one day, and I was thinking back to the Sawtooth Mountains, and the melody popped into my head for the chorus, which is like, Sawtooth peaks above, scrape the violet sky. And I just built on that because I really liked it. And sometimes you come up with like the lyrics just sort of popped into my head. And they were just so good I had to keep them, despite the fact that sometimes those lyrics come to you, they're special, but they don't always directly relate to what the song is actually about. In this case, it kind of does, kind of doesn't. But yeah, I love that kind of organic and spontaneous creative process.
I love that. I'm always just intrigued on how bands write, because every one of them do it so different, and then some do it the same. But it's crazy how things just come together, and it doesn't matter how you approach it. The end result usually comes out exactly like they want. And I'm just one of those. I wish I could write, but I can't. And I've tried, and I'm just like, how do you guys do it? I need the golden ticket. How do you do it? But I'm just haven't been able to do it. So I'm always, how do they do that? How does it start? Anyway.
Hey, Randy, let's jump right off of that into giving everybody a little taste of some Judicator sounds.
Awesome. Yeah, I do have Concord. I wish I could get all. There was so much of it that the heavy beginning, it was just ripping my face off. I was like, oh, this is it, right? But I have to kind of cut it down because we get strikes on YouTube and Facebook and all of that. So, but I still put in like over a minute of Concord, because I just had to try to get it in. And I did get y'all doing the vocal parts, kind of in the middle. So I just wanted to get as many elements in there as I could. Here we go. Concord, I'll shut up. Dude, I love it. It looks so fun, but it sounds so good right there. It is like Queen, and it's like it is good. I mean, I love that, and I had to get that element in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy including little hard left turns within songs. So with this song Concord, you have that little jog through the Shire kind of part that goes into that Queenie section with Nicky Rowe. We have another song dropping on Friday, March 7th, for a song called A Miracle of Life. And that one, we might have gone too far with the funny stuff. Who knows? We'll see what people think. But we in this next music video, we smash a saxophone, we smash a guitar. There's sequin. It's ridiculous. So yeah, we have a lot of fun, like I said, with this album.
I had that actually written down as a note too, by the way. How did we decide to smash a saxophone? Like, where did the idea of that come into play?
That's actually a pretty decent question. So when I was writing A Miracle of Life, I was presented with one of those crossroads, which is, this is what I want to do, but it's kind of weird. Do I not risk it, or do I just say screw it and do the fun thing that I want to do? In this case, it was in A Miracle of Life. Yeah, including a sort of breakdown with a saxophone reminiscent of what you would hear from clowncore, those guys who dress up like clowns and play really wild music on YouTube. And, you know, on paper, it shouldn't work. But in my opinion, for my taste, it works fine. I love it. And to get to your question, which is why destroying a saxophone and that kind of thing. Well, in a music video from our last album, The High Priestess, I destroyed a keyboard. And I kind of was looking for an excuse to do something similar this time around because I thought it would be funny. So yeah, I went and found a secondhand saxophone, and Nikki, who was in Concord, she was out for the weekend anyway. She came here all the way from California to be in the video and whatnot. And I figured, man, you've come all this way. Let's put you to work. Let's do something else. Do you want to pretend to play saxophone? And she's like, I don't play saxophone. What if people think that? I'm like, you'll be fine. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody is going to be like, oh, she was fingering wrong. This isn't that kind of thing. Like, just have fun, lean into it, pretend really well, act really well. And by the way, can you smash the saxophone? So yeah, we had her smash the saxophone to smithereens, but it was actually a lot harder than I thought it would be. And then I also had my brother-in-law won a guitar in some contest, and it's some junky $100 guitar from Walmart or something.
Right.
And he's like, I'll never use this. Do you want it? Sure. I'd been sitting on this guitar for like a year, and I thought, oh no, what's better than smashing one instrument? Smashing two instruments. So yeah, I figured right at the end, let's just boom, smash a guitar for fun. Why not?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That is really rock and roll.
That is pretty sick.
So let's talk about Epic Fest. What's going on there?
That is a really exciting opportunity because, yeah, we have been wanting to make our way out to Europe for a long time. Yeah. And serendipitously, we received an email last year out of the blue from someone who runs Epic Fest or helps run Epic Fest. And it was an inquiry if we wanted to play. And there was the asterisk, which was, I understand, you know, we can't pay you probably enough to cover the whole trip or whatever. So if it's a no, it's fine. And I was like, son of a bitch, I'm in.
I make it work.
Yeah, I'm happy to pay a little out of pocket. Granted, this is the most we've been paid for a show to date, so I'm happy.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I mean, if we have to pay out of pocket a little bit to go have a wonderful experience and check item off our bucket list, which is to perform in Europe at a festival, I'm happy to do that. So yeah, and they understand, you know, and to that end, it's really cool. We're being given the opportunity to play a 1-hour set, a pretty good time slot too. So I'm just over the moon excited and floored by how humbling this experience has been.
Exactly. And look how many people are going to have your name on their lips going, did you see Judicator? You know, putting yourself out in front, live in front of all these people. It's an awesome opportunity. And I think I would have probably faced it the same way you did. It's like, this is a no-brainer. We're going.
Yeah, and I mean, even if we were performing for 30 or 45 minutes, I still would have jumped at the opportunity because what a networking opportunity. Right. You know, if you want to get your foot in the door, you know, why not? You know, this only good can come of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Good job, Randy. That was the next
website. The website even mentions that it's your guys' first time in Europe. I saw that and I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Also, we do have your Bandcamp link out in the comment section, so people can go find everything Judicator Metal. I was perusing through there, and you guys have some amazing shirt designs out there as well. So for all you metalheads out there, go check out their stuff. Buy the merch from the band direct. Don't be buying knockoff stuff from some random scammer. Just go to their website.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, that's kind of an
No
interesting
names, all you gotta do
thing.
is click it.
That's kind of an interesting. You mentioned like knockoffs and whatnot. It's interesting that, you know, it's not like we are not Iron Maiden, we are not Blind Guardian. Like if we're celebrities, we are Z-list celebrities. But it is interesting. We have hit at least some kind of level of notoriety just because there are knockoffs now. I've seen online of merch items and whatnot. So yeah, do buy official, and whatever you do buy is goes direct to the band and is very helpful in all of our efforts to not go into debt with this Epic Fest trip.
That's yeah.
I did have one more. I'm kind of rewording this question that I had written down just as we've been talking. But when we get to the full album, like when we dive into getting to all the songs, what other twists and turns can we be looking for throughout the album?
Okay, so The Majesty of Decay, like I said, was a really hard left turn. And that was polarizing for some of our long-term fans, and I get it. I don't begrudge it. So with that being said, with Concord, we made kind of an effort to come back to center a little bit more, make it a little more traditional, short and sweet. So I will say there are not as many twists and turns on this album as there were with The Majesty of Decay. There's Concord we've talked about, A Miracle of Life we've talked about. Aside from that, in terms of weird, fun, crazy things, the next thing I would say that stands out is the song we close with called Blood Meridian, about Cormac McCarthy's book of the same name. And I would say Blood Meridian is a fairly traditional power metal song, which near the end gets interrupted by a black metal song. And then that gets interrupted by a really corny but well done and fun hoedown. And
no left turns at all.
But if any of you or the audience have read Blood Meridian, you're familiar with the way the book ends. I won't spoil anything, but the judge, he never sleeps, he never dies. They say he'll live forever. And that's sort of the note that we end the album on. And I'll say too, when I get to the end of every album production process, I listen to the album front to back and I think, okay, honest thoughts, what do I think of the album? And when I finished doing that with Concord, the album, I immediately went to thinking like, okay, what is this? Is this an 8, a 9 out of 10, a 10 out of 10? But then I realized, wait a minute, I'm still smiling. Like 30 seconds to a minute after the album ended, I just had a smile. And so I think that's great. I mean, I hope that listeners and audience members have the same reaction, that to me, this is just a nice, pleasant, good album to listen to. It makes me feel like I just ate a turkey sandwich and a lemonade.
I love that.
So how do you know when a song is complete? I know that can be kind of tough, especially for a writer. You just want to keep adding things and keep tweaking things and bring in this horn over here, bring in this over here. At what point do you go, you know what? I think we've got everything. Let's just call this song done.
That's a good question, because there's a real danger in my experience with spending too much time on a song. I have known people, a handful, who, in my opinion, take way too long. Perfection is the enemy of the good. You can't spend too much time on something, I think. there's a value, I think, to the more raw and organic expression of what you're trying to communicate in your song. So to that end, I'll say, we value good production. We want it to sound good. We want it to be polished. But on the sort of pre-production end where you're writing, I think it's important to capture that first draft of the song and then ask, what does the song need? And add that in, and then get it into other people's hands. Once you have your baby formed, start letting go of it, because it needs to go through different periods of vetting. So it's my baby, and then I introduce it to the band, and the band starts adjusting it, and because I don't want it to just be mine either. I want it to be the band's. And that's reciprocated through these songs on Concord, which were, for example, written by Chad, but went through a couple different iterations. So yeah, it goes through the different band members, and then in our case, we put it through Carlos Alvarez of Dirty Viking Audio, who handled the editing and mixing, and in this album, he was a producer. So yeah, by the end of it, that's part of what really excites me about the whole album production process anyways, is you start out with just sawtooth peaks above, scrape the violet sky, just singing it in the backyard. And then like a year later, it's this fleshed out, beautiful thing that has gone through so much. And I guess it's like having a baby. You invest so much into it, but at a certain point, you need to start letting it go out into the world and encountering friends and teachers and blah, blah, blah. And then it graduates high school, and you're like, my baby boy, I love that son of a gun so much. That's kind of how I think of it.
That's hilarious. Very good. Very good.
It's kind of cool because whenever you said like a lot of people spend too long on it, the first thing my brain went to is like whenever you're taking a test, they always say like the first answer that you think is right, go with that. Because as soon as you start second guessing yourself, you're probably going to get it wrong. You most likely got it right first try, but you start kind of, maybe that's not it. Maybe, well, it was right the first time, dude. So that's the first thing that my brain went to when you said that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have one other question because I'm curious. You guys had a Kickstarter thing going on like last year, and since I'm very new to following you guys at this point, I'd like to know what the recipient of Spending a Day with Aunt Judy, what was that day like? What happened? What'd you guys do?
First of all, I will say I was very surprised by how well the Kickstarter campaign went. We very meticulously set the number at, I think it was $7,100 that we needed to just do the job. And we ended up getting, I think it was close to 10 grand. So that still wasn't quite enough. We are still needing to dip into our pockets to get to the finish line. But I was very humbled by how well that Kickstarter did. To answer your question directly, we are very open and, very giving, I would say, not to be pompous about it or anything. But that being said, the person who got that perk, a conversation was opened up like, okay, what do you want to get out of a day with Aunt Judy? And I don't know. So I'm like, all right, well, you could come and spend a day with us, and we could, X, Y, and Z. We could like go to dinner, and you could join rehearsal. You could sing some Judicator songs that you want. Yeah, maybe. Okay, we're opening for Blind Guardian. You could come and be backstage with us and like be part of the band for a day or whatever. Maybe. What ended up happening is we told him, we're having this content weekend where we are filming music videos, 2 music videos, doing some band photos, hanging out. And what he ended up doing is he flew out and spent the whole weekend with us. And he's actually in the Concord music video, if only for just a couple glimpses. He's in that group of people going, beep, 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 bum, beep, 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 bum. So yeah, I figure like you spent a lot of money, and I appreciate that, and I want to try to give you as much bang for your buck as possible. So whether it's like literally just spending a day with us and rehearsing, and like if I loved the band, I would love to sing their songs with the singer. That would be cool. So I offered that. Didn't work out. Blind Guardian, holy shit, you want to come and like be a part of the band or whatever, be a crew member? That would be phenomenal. Like, what would I want to get out of it? And so yeah, I think he got a good bang for his buck.
That does sound like it. That'd be
That
awesome.
sounds very cool, and I applaud the people out there funding the Kickstarters as well. That's awesome that you guys are doing so well that way.
For real.
That's direct to you guys, so that's way better.
Absolutely.
Randy.
Well, that's all I've got. John, do your famous where can everybody find everything Judicator?
Randy, I did that, but we already talked about the link, and it's in the chat.
There's more. They've got a link tree too.
Yeah, where's if anybody's looking for anything Judicator, where is the best places for them to check you guys out?
Google is your friend. Whatever social media platform you have, we probably have a presence there. So take your pick. If you are interested in supporting us on a deeper level and getting behind the scenes looks at things, you can find us on Patreon. You can just Google Judicator Patreon. Will be #1 search result.
I love that one. I love that picture.
Boomer posting. Love it. Yeah. So
Right.
just find us on social media, man, and get involved. Pre-order the album. It's a banger. It's a lot of fun. It's a great album. Very proud of it, and I think you'll love it.
Heck yeah.
Right.
I'm excited to get a chance in like 3 weeks to dive into these songs and listen.
Right.
For real.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you'll love it.
And just so everybody out there knows, they get pretty brutal. It's not beepity pop all the time. These cats can throw down.
I think it's important to embrace all sides of your creativity and to be unabashedly unafraid. So yeah, we'll go beep beep bum, and but then in Blood Meridian we'll also be like black metal, like heavy blast beats and stuff. I write the music that I want to hear. And for me, that's twists and turns and just freedom to explore any kind of crazy idea that comes to your mind. I love that kind of music.
I think ultimately that's the only way to be, though, because if you're not writing and playing what you want to be doing, you're not going to enjoy what you're doing in life.
100%. 100%.
Yep. I think people will see right through it if you don't believe in what you're doing. And 100%, I'm enjoying this song. They're not gonna enjoy it as much either. So people are pretty smart. They're pretty intuitive. They're like, boy, he doesn't really get into this one, does he?
Yeah, and I won't name names because I'm not that kind of guy. I don't want to trash any band or whatever, but when I say this, you'll probably have 2 or 3 bands that come to mind. But there are bands out there which they are obligated to record deals and they need to produce an album, and so every X number of years they pump out an album, and inevitably there's 8 or 10 tracks, 1 or 2 are good, and the rest are like good, but it's not like, wow, this is why I fell in love with you in the first place.
Right.
So that's something I try to be forward thinking. What do I want? What am I going for rather than what am I running away from? The one thing that I'm always kind of looking over my shoulder is, am I getting bored, or do I feel like this is stale or stagnant? Like, I don't want cookie cutter. I never want to step in the same river twice. And I know from fandoms that can be a little frustrating. When you fall in love with a band because they produced these albums, but then they move on and do different kinds of albums. I put my own. It's like when you're on the airplane, they say, yeah, you're supposed to put the air mask on yourself first, then the people next to you. So as an artist, a creative, always got to take care of myself first. And then if the fans like it, awesome. If they don't, we're still going to try to satisfy you at shows. We're still going to try to play the old songs that you like. Don't worry. But we also got to take care of ourselves.
I love it. Really well put.
yeah. Because you've got to evolve. I mean, nobody wants to hear the same album 7 times. I mean, they just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Hey, I do have one thing before. I know we're getting short on our normal time frames. This is totally off topic, but I want to send everybody from Bleach Bang's deepest condolences out to Tammy Down, a Faster Pussycat, and the loss of his fiance this past week. So it's a very tragic story, and that's all I want to put out there on that.
Right on.
See, and we just had a moment of silence without even trying.
Right.
Oh.
It's like, how do we follow that up now?
I love it. Yeah. Well, John, thank you so much for joining us, and the best of luck on your album release on the 28th, and lots of luck April 4th in Denmark.
Absolutely.
Have fun.
Thank you guys so much for having me on and taking the time. I had a great time. This was a stimulating conversation, and we'll have to join up again sometime.
We love it. Your family, and anytime you want to pop on or come back and see us, just hit us up. We will get you scheduled and make sure that you get out what you need out.
And brag about that Denmark show.
Absolutely.
Damn right.
Hell yeah, love it. Thanks, guys.
Thank
you, man.
Have a good evening. All right.
Randy, before you play us out, I do want to mention one other thing that I just read right before the show. Motley Crue's residency in Las Vegas is being postponed due to Vince Neil's health. So let's wish him well and hope that whatever they need to do, he can get back to doing his thing too.
Right on.
I got all the bad news tonight. I apologize.
Okay, well, yeah, I didn't see that. That's interesting. All right.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Cool. All right. I'll just play us out
on that bombshell.
What league?
We bang your ugly friends too.